At my wife's company dinner, her affair partner cornered me drunk. How does it feel being a nobody? I smirked. He had no idea I was worth $12 million, neither did she. This spans 6 months, gets dark, includes financial devastation, but ends with hope. Buckle up. Per the rules, names changed. Dan Reynolds, 41. Michelle Cooper. Reynolds, 39, married 13 years. 2 kids, Emily, 13, and Jacob, 10. I'm a product manager making $88K. Or at least that's what she thought. Built what I thought was a solid life. Emphasis on thought. Michelle was my college sweetheart. 13 years of marriage. We bought our first house together, had 2 beautiful kids. Built traditions, inside jokes, a whole life. She was my person, my partner, my everything. Was. The life we built. Met at University of Michigan in 2008. She was majoring in marketing, I was deep in computer science. We bonded over late-night study sessions at the library and an unhealthy addiction to shitty coffee. Married in 2012, small wedding. Her family, my family, close friends. Nothing fancy. We didn't have money for fancy. We bought our first house in 2018, modest 3-bedroom in the suburbs. Paid it off early in 2020 with money from my startup sale, though Michelle thought we'd just gotten lucky with investments. Built college funds for both kids, $50,000 each, sitting in 529 accounts they knew nothing about. Every August, without fail, we'd pack up the minivan and drive to Yellowstone, camping, hiking. Jacob would complain about the bugs. Emily would take approximately 3,000 photos. Michelle and I would sit by the campfire after the kids went to sleep, drinking cheap wine from plastic cups, talking about nothing and everything. We had Sunday morning pancakes. Emily would make them. She'd been doing it since she was 8. Jacob would set the table with the precision of a surgeon. Michelle and I would do dishes together, her washing, me drying, bumping hips, and stealing kisses between plates. That was us, or so I thought. I'm the kind of guy who fixes things instead of replacing them. Always have been. My dad taught me that when I was 12, standing in our garage with a broken lawnmower. Things have value beyond their price tag, Danny. Remember that. I've always believed in living below your means. Drove a 2018 Toyota Camry, shopped at Costco, clipped coupons even though I didn't need to. My net worth was $11.7 million, and I was excited about saving 40 cents on peanut butter. I volunteered teaching kids to code on Saturday mornings at the library, played rec league basketball on Thursday nights, which is where I'd eventually tear my ACL, but we'll get to that. My best friend Marcus called me boringly consistent. Michelle used to say it was one of the things she loved about me. You're steady, reliable. I always know exactly who you're going to be. Past tense. She stopped saying it sometime around March 2024. I didn't notice when. The first cracks, March 2024. Michelle got promoted to senior marketing manager at Tech Vantage Solutions. Great news, right? We celebrated. Took Emily and Jacob to their favorite restaurant, this Italian place called Giovanni's, where they make their pasta fresh, and Jacob always orders the same thing. She was glowing. This is it, Dan. This is the career breakthrough I've been working toward. I'm so proud of you, babe. And I was, genuinely. She'd busted her ass for that promotion, but something shifted after that dinner. She started staying late at the office. New responsibilities, she'd say when she'd come home at 9, 10, sometimes 11 at night. Learning the ropes, can't let them down. Started dressing differently, sharper, more expensive. New dresses I didn't recognize. Heels that weren't practical for sitting at a desk all day. Have to look the part, she explained, when I complimented a new outfit. Started being protective of her phone, face down on the counter, always. Password changed from our anniversary to something I didn't know. When I asked about her day, answers got vaguer. Fine. Busy. You wouldn't understand the politics. That last one stung, like I was too simple to comprehend her important corporate life. That's when I started noticing things. April. Michelle started texting during dinner. Not occasionally, every single dinner. Phone face down, but the smile when it buzzed, that was new, private, like she was reading a secret meant just for her. I thought maybe it was work friends. New promotion, new circle, Rationalized it. "Who's texting you so much?" I asked once, trying to keep it light. "Just the team. Group chat. They're hilarious." She didn't look up. By May, her phone was glued to her hand. Bathroom trips got longer, 10, 15 minutes. I could hear her giggling through the door. She'd come to bed after I was asleep, phone charging on her nightstand instead of in the kitchen like it used to be. When I asked about it, she'd snap, "Why are you monitoring me? It's creepy, Dan." Monitoring her for noticing my wife was glued to her phone. June. She started having girls' nights on Fridays. Michelle had never been a girls' night person. She'd always preferred staying home, movie nights with me and the kids. Sarah from work invited me out. "I need to bond with the team." "That's great. Maybe we can do a date night next week." "I'm too tired for date nights, Dan. I'm exhausted from work." Too tired for me. Not too tired for girls' nights. July, the intimacy stopped. No more Sunday morning cuddles in bed while the kids watched cartoons. No more spontaneous kisses in the kitchen. No more hands finding each other on the couch during movies. In bed, she'd turn away from me, build a wall of pillows between us. When I tried to initiate, she'd say she was stressed. "Not tonight. I'm exhausted." Every single time. I started counting. It had been 6 weeks, then 8, then 10. August. Michelle stopped wearing her wedding ring. I noticed on a Thursday evening. She was loading the dishwasher. Her left hand was bare. I stared at it, stomach dropping. "Where's your ring?" She didn't even look up. It bothers me when I type. I've been taking it off at work. She worked in marketing, PowerPoints, and strategy sessions, not typing intensive, and she'd never had a problem before. "You never used to take it off." "Well, I do now. Why are you making this a thing?" "I'm not, You're being controlling. It's just a ring, Dan." Me. Controlling. For noticing my wife wasn't wearing her wedding ring anymore. I dropped it. That was my mistake. It was a Tuesday night in early September. Michelle came home at 10:15 p.m. Her makeup was perfect. Not smudged, not tired, date night, perfect. "How was the client dinner?" I asked from the couch. ESPN was on mute. "Fine, I'm exhausted." She didn't kiss me hello, didn't ask about the kids, didn't ask about my day. She just went straight upstairs. I heard the shower turn on. I sat there, remote in my hand, and something clicked. The late nights, the phone, the distance, the ring, the shower immediately after client dinners. My chest tightened. Hands started shaking. I'd read about this, seen it in movies. Hell, my buddy from college had gone through it. Never thought it would be my story. That's when it hit me. Michelle was cheating. Not maybe, not probably. She was fucking cheating on me. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, gripped the counter so hard my knuckles went white, breathed. By morning, the panic had solidified into cold certainty. That's when I decided to find out the truth. The investigation. I did what any betrayed spouse would do in 2024. I Googled it. How to catch a cheating wife. Signs of infidelity. How to gather evidence of affair. I went down a rabbit hole. Reddit threads on R surviving infidelity with hundreds of similar stories. YouTube videos from divorce attorneys with titles like 5 Mistakes Betrayed Spouses Make. Articles about private investigators and their methods. I learned about phone forensics. GPS tracking, social media deep dives, recovery software for deleted messages, the digital footprint people leave when they think they're being careful. I felt like I was preparing for war. Because that's what it was. She'd drawn first blood. I was just evening the score. Step 1. Social media deep dive. I scrolled back through Michelle's Facebook posts from the past 6 months. Every post, every comment, every tagged photo. And I noticed something. A guy's name in the comments. A lot. Brandon Hughes. "Great presentation today, Michelle." The fire emoji felt intimate. Lunch meeting was productive. The winking emoji, more so. "Can't wait for the Denver conference next month." I didn't know Michelle was going to Denver. I clicked on his profile. Mid-30s looking guy. Fit. Professional headshot that screamed, "I spend money on my appearance." Drove a BMW. Visible in multiple photos of him standing next to it. Arm draped over the hood like it was a trophy. Recent check-ins at restaurants I recognized. Upscale places. Dates that matched Michelle's late nights at the office. Too many coincidences. I scrolled through his photos. Company picnic from July. There was Michelle, laughing, Brandon's arm around her waist. His hand placement was too low, too comfortable, too familiar. Another photo. Group dinner. They were sitting next to each other, heads close together, her hand on his arm. His face turned toward hers like she was the only person in the room. I screenshot everything. Then I tried to message him. Just a friendly, "Hey, you work with Michelle?" Introduction. This account cannot receive messages from users they have blocked. Why the hell would I be blocked by Michelle's coworker? Unless. Step 2. Phone records. We're on a family phone plan. Had been since we got married. I'm the account holder. Michelle's phone, the kids' phones, all under my name. I logged into the carrier website, pulled up 3 months of data. Holy shit. Starting in April, a number I didn't recognize appeared. First, just a few calls, some texts. By May, 20 texts per day. By June, 80 to 120 texts per day. Hour-long phone calls. By August, over 200 texts daily. Calls at 11:30 p.m., at midnight, at 1 a.m. While I was asleep, 10 feet away, in our bed. I ran the number through a reverse lookup service. Brandon James Hughes, age 40. Works at Tech Vantage Solutions, same company as Michelle. There he was. The name with a face. The face with a phone number. The phone number with evidence. But the phone records only showed frequency and duration, not content. I needed more. That's when Marcus, my former business partner, my best friend, told me about recovery software. It's not illegal, he explained over beers one night when I'd finally confided in him. If it's a shared iCloud account, backed up data is accessible. You're not hacking. You're just accessing what's already yours. The moral gymnastics made me queasy, but I needed to know. I installed it on my laptop that night, synced it to our family iCloud account, the one Michelle's phone automatically backed up to every night. Within 12 hours, I was reading everything. D-Day, September 18th, 2024, 2:23 a.m. I couldn't sleep. I'd been lying in bed next to Michelle for 2 hours, listening to her breathe, wondering who she'd been texting before she fell asleep. I got up, went downstairs, opened my laptop at the kitchen table. The recovery software had synced overnight. New messages, hundreds of them. I clicked on the thread with Brandon's number, and my world ended. Michelle, I can't stop thinking about this afternoon. Brandon, your husband really has no idea, does he? My stomach dropped. Hands went numb. Michelle, Dan? God, no. He's completely checked out. Just goes to work, comes home, watches sports. I don't think he'd notice if I moved out tomorrow. Checked out, like I was furniture, an appliance. Brandon, his loss is my gain. You deserve someone who actually sees you. Michelle, when can I see you again? I need you. Need. She needed him. Brandon, tomorrow. Tell him you're working late. I'll pick you up at 6. I scrolled up. Weeks of messages, months, back to April, explicit texts, photos I will never be able to unsee, plans for hotels, complaints about me, fantasies about their future together. One message from August 30th. Michelle, sometimes I imagine what life would be like if I'd never married him. If I'd met you first, we'd be so happy. Brandon, it's not too late. You could leave him. Michelle, maybe. The kids make it complicated, but maybe. She was considering leaving me, for him. I dropped my phone. It clattered on the hardwood floor, the sound explosive in the silent house. Michelle stirred upstairs. Dan, what are you doing up? I sat there in the dark kitchen, 2:37 a.m., feeling like my chest was caving in, like someone had reached inside my ribcage and was squeezing my heart in their fist. Nothing, just getting water. I heard her roll over, go back to sleep. I sat on the kitchen floor, back against the cabinet, tile cold beneath me, and I cried. For 3 days I was a ghost, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Lost 6 pounds in 72 hours. I know because I stood on the scale Tuesday morning and then Friday morning, watching the number drop, feeling nothing. I'd look at Michelle making breakfast for the kids, laughing at something Jacob said, helping Emily with her backpack, and see a complete stranger. This woman who I'd given 13 years to, who was supposed to be my partner, my best friend, my person, who'd stood in front of our families and friends and promised forever, who'd held my hand when Emily was born and cried with joy, who'd slow danced with me in our kitchen to no music just because. Michelle knew something was wrong, kept asking if I was okay. Just a stomach bug, I'm fine. The fucking irony. I'd just smile, change the subject, go to work, come home, be dad. I cried in my car during lunch breaks, parked in the back of a grocery store parking lot where nobody knew me. Windows up, radio off, just me and the silence and the betrayal crushing my chest. I'm not ashamed to say it. I fucking cried. Day 4, September 22nd, something shifted. I woke up at 5 a.m. Michelle was still asleep next to me, her phone on the nightstand, face down. Probably another message from Brandon, another "good morning, beautiful" text, another plan to see each other while I was at work being the boring husband she was completely checked out from. And I wasn't sad anymore. I was fucking pissed. Michelle didn't just cheat. She mocked me, belittled me, turned our marriage into a joke she told her affair partner. Completely checked out. Wouldn't notice if I moved out. Just goes to work, comes home, watches sports. On like I was nothing, nobody. A cardboard cutout of a husband. I thought about the money, the 11.7 million she knew nothing about, the startup I'd built and sold, the deliberate choice to live simply because I wanted a partner who loved me for who I was, not what I had. Turns out she loved neither. That's when I decided I wasn't just going to divorce her quietly. I was going to show her exactly what she threw away. I wanted her to feel what I felt. Times 10. I wanted scorched earth. The planning. I spent 5 days researching, not just divorce proceedings anymore, total warfare strategy. I took 2 vacation days from work, told Michelle I was catching up on projects from home. She barely acknowledged it. Too busy texting Brandon, probably. I learned about evidence admissibility in Michigan divorce courts, about separate property versus marital property, about strategic timing for maximum impact, about how to protect assets before filing, not just ending a marriage, dismantling the narrative that I was the boring, checked-out husband, revealing who I really was, making them both realize their catastrophic mistake. I found this quote on a Reddit thread, User Ghost Protocol 47. The best revenge is living well while they drown in their own choices. That became my mantra. I wrote it on a Post-it note, stuck it inside my laptop, read it every morning. Here's what I knew. Michelle thought I was broke, made $88K, lived modestly, drove an old Camry. She had no idea about the money. The sale had happened during marriage, but the company was founded before. All separate property per Michigan law, protected. Brandon thought I was weak, the boring husband, the clueless cuck. He'd never met the version of me that built a company from scratch, negotiated an 8-figure sale, walked away before 35 to focus on what mattered. They were comfortable, sloppy, overconfident. They thought they were being careful. They weren't. Digital trails everywhere. My advantage? I knew everything about them. They knew nothing real about me. I wasn't in a hurry. I had time, months if needed. The longer I waited, the more evidence I could gather, the more rope they'd hang themselves with. I made rules for myself, wrote them down, taped them to the inside of my desk drawer, document everything. Timestamps, screenshots, locations, amounts. Protect the money, ensure it stays separate property, can't be touched. Shield the kids. They learn the truth, but gently, when time is right. Stay legal, no crimes, no violence, just truth and consequences. Wait for maximum impact. One devastating reveal, not death by 1,000 cuts. This wasn't just about ending a marriage. This was about revealing who I really was, watching them realize their catastrophic mistake, and making sure everyone knew the truth about what happened and why. The boring guy was about to become their worst nightmare. Evidence gathering. I created a spreadsheet, Google Sheets, password protected, backed up to a separate Google account Michelle didn't know existed. Every suspicious event got logged, date-time event, claimed versus actual location. Supporting evidence corroboration, source cross-referenced with phone records, credit card statements, social media activity. Michelle's work calendar that synced to our shared family calendar. I had a 6-month map of every lie, Every late meeting that was actually a hotel visit. Every girls' night spent with Brandon, color-coded by severity, red for confirmed affair activities, yellow for suspicious but not proven, green for legitimate work events that checked out. By October, the spreadsheet was 80% red. I took screenshots, 340 of them, organized by date and type, text messages discussing hotels and meetup times, social media photos with suspicious timing and positioning, LinkedIn messages that were way too flirty for professional contacts, Instagram stories showing them in the same locations, at the same times Venmo transactions between them, with suggestive notes. I backed everything up to 3 places: separate Google Drive account, external hard drive hidden in my gym bag in the garage, cloud storage with a service Michelle had never heard of. If she found one backup, I had 2 more. I pulled credit card statements going back 8 months, our joint account. Michelle used it for everything: groceries, gas, her personal shopping, and apparently funding her affair. A $156 dinner at Il Vino, upscale Italian place downtown, May the 12th. While Michelle was supposedly at a team building event, I'd called her company's main line, pretended to be confirming catering for an event, asked about the May 12th team builder. "We don't have anything scheduled that day, sir." $89 at Victoria's Secret, June 3rd. I'd never seen her wear any of it, not once, not for me anyway. 203 at the Marriott in Ann Arbor, June 20th. Listed as client entertainment on our expense tracking. Her company didn't have clients in Ann Arbor. I checked. $134 at Nordstrom, new dress, July 8th. She wore it to a work function. I'd seen photos on her coworker's Instagram. Brandon was there, his hand on her lower back in 2 photos. She was literally making me pay for her affair with our joint money. I screenshot every statement, highlighted every suspicious charge, prepared notes with evidence showing what she'd claimed versus where she actually was. I quietly reached out to Michelle's friends. Casual questions at the grocery store, at school pickup, at the neighborhood barbecue Marcus threw in late September. "Hey Sarah, how was girls' night last Friday?" Sarah looked confused. "What girls' night?" "Oh, Michelle said you guys went out. Must have been someone else." "No, I haven't seen Michelle outside work in months." That's when I knew some of her alibis were completely fabricated. No friends covering for her, just lies. I made a list. Friends who knew seemed to avoid eye contact when Michelle's name came up. Friends who were being used as unwitting alibis. Friends who'd be shocked when truth came out. Most were in category 3, good people. They'd be appalled. Our cell phones had location sharing turned on. For safety, we'd agreed years ago, in case something happened, in case one of the kids needed to find us. I went back through Michelle's location history. iPhone tracks everything if you know where to look. September 3rd, Michelle said she was at a marketing conference in Detroit. Her location showed the Marriott in Troy for 8 hours on a Tuesday. Brandon's LinkedIn showed he was traveling for business that same day. September 10th, late meeting at the office. Her location showed a hotel 20 miles from her office for 5 hours, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. September 15th, girls' night with Sarah. Location showed an apartment complex I didn't recognize. Quick search showed it was Brandon's building. I screenshot the maps, time-stamped, GPS coordinates and all. Undeniable. By October, I had everything compiled. I went to FedEx office one Saturday while Michelle took the kids to soccer, printed it all, 320 pages, spent $80 on high-quality printing and binding, brought it home, created the binder while alone in the house. Tabs for each category, timeline, the spreadsheet, color-coded, printed. Digital evidence, texts, messages, social media. Financial trail, credit card statements, highlighted charges, location data, maps, GPS coordinates, timestamps. Witnesses, list of people who'd corroborate suspicions. Employment implications, company policy violations, HR concerns. Most damning evidence highlighted in yellow. The smoking guns. At the front, a table of contents. Professional, clean, devastating. It looked like a legal brief, because that's what it was, my case against her. I stored it in my gym locker at the rec center, somewhere she'd never think to look. investigating the affair partner. I needed to know who Brandon Hughes was, not just a name and a phone number. Know your enemy. Basic info. Brandon James Hughes. Age 40. Single, never married, though his LinkedIn said previously married, which was a lie I confirmed through public records. He'd never filed for marriage in Michigan, lived in a luxury apartment complex 12 miles from our house. The Waterford, I looked it up. Studio started at $2,400 month. Drove a 2022 BMW 330i, nice car. I looked up the lease calculator, probably $650 a month with his credit. Worked as senior sales manager at TechVantage Solutions. Started there 2 years ago, right before Michelle's department reorganized. They'd worked together before she got promoted. Social media, Instagram was all flex, rooftop bars, expensive dinners, designer clothes, watch collection that probably cost more than my Camry. But I looked closer, the watch photos were all the same 3 watches, photographed from different angles. The designer clothes had tags still on in some photos, probably returned after posting. The rooftop bar photos were mostly alone, or with guys who looked like work bros. All show, no substance. Comment section was telling. Women commenting flame emojis and looking good, but no evidence of actual dating. Lots of people calling him BJ, his initials. I filed that away. Natural derogatory nickname if I needed one. Recently, pictures with Michelle. Not tagged, but I recognize locations. The company picnic, the team dinner that wasn't. Her laughing at something he said, his arm around her shoulders. Comments from coworkers. Power couple! Get a room, you two! Finally making it official? They weren't even being subtle. The more I dug, the clearer it became. Brandon had blocked me, not just on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, even Twitter, which I barely used. He knew who I was. He'd made a deliberate choice to block his mistress's husband, premeditated, calculated. This wasn't an accidental affair. This was targeted, intentional. He'd pursued my wife, knowing full well she was married. I found his LinkedIn profile through a work colleague's computer. Under skills, he listed things like enterprise sales, relationship building, strategic partnership development. I reached out to a contact at a competing firm. Asked about Brandon's reputation. Hughes, he's mediocre. Middle-of-the-pack sales numbers, all talk, no delivery. We interviewed him last year, didn't extend an offer. Too much flash, not enough substance. So, the BMW was leased. The apartment was expensive, but he was probably stretching to afford it. The watches were the same, 3 re-photographed. The designer clothes were likely returned. Brandon Hughes was a fraud. A middle-aged man LARPing as successful. And my wife was fucking him. I pulled up TechVantage Solutions Employee Handbook, publicly available through their careers page. Section 4.3. Employees engaged in romantic relationships must disclose to HR to prevent conflicts of interest, particularly when there exists a supervisory or collaborative working relationship. Brandon was senior sales manager. Michelle was senior marketing manager. They collaborated on campaigns. There was definitely a collaborative working relationship, undisclosed. Section 7.2, company resources including expense accounts, company vehicles, and corporate credit cards may only be used for legitimate business purposes. Personal use of company resources is grounds for immediate termination. I'd seen Brandon's Instagram, photos of him with company-branded items at locations that definitely weren't client meetings. And I had Michelle's credit card statements showing hotels charged to what I suspected might be corporate cards, though I couldn't prove that part yet without more info. I screenshot everything, the handbook, the policy sections, the photos. If I was going to burn, Brandon was coming with me. Acting normal. From September 21st to December 20th, I became an actor, Oscar-worthy performance. Every morning, I kissed Michelle goodbye. Have a great day, babe. Every evening I asked about work. How was the presentation? Every weekend I made pancakes and played with the kids and mowed the lawn and did all the normal husband things. We even had sex twice. I initiated both times. Because that's what normal looked like. That's what an unsuspecting husband would do. It made me physically ill. Both times I went to the bathroom afterward and dry heaved. But I did it. because she needed to believe everything was fine. I watched her text Brandon right in front of me, on the couch during movies, at the dinner table. Her phone would buzz, she'd smile that private smile, fingers flying across the screen. What's funny? I'd ask. Just Sarah being Sarah. Always Sarah, her go-to excuse. I'd laugh. She's hilarious. Internally, I was documenting. Screenshot saved, timestamp recorded, file away. Some nights Michelle would come home at 9 p.m., makeup perfect, smelling like perfume I didn't buy her. I'd have dinner waiting. Reheated because the kids and I ate at 6 like normal people. How was the client presentation, babe? Exhausting but good. They loved the pitch. I'd nod. That's great, I'm proud of you. I knew she'd been at the Hilton from 5:30 to 8:45. GPS didn't lie. Client presentations were during business hours, not evening trysts. But I'd just smile, file it away, add it to the binder. Here's what she didn't know. I had consulted with Lisa Ann Parker, elite divorce attorney in Detroit, paid her $5,000 retainer in cash, meetings scheduled as business lunches on my calendar. She knew everything. She was preparing. I knew Michelle had spent $3,200 on hotels and dinners in 3 months. Joint credit card statements, every charge documented. I was building an employment case for HR violations. Both of them. Undisclosed relationship. Misuse of company time. Policy violations. I had already filed pre-divorce financial disclosures with Lisa. Every asset listed. The $11.7 million clearly marked as separate property acquired from premarital business. Protected. I had moved money into a separate property trust. Lisa had drawn it up. Legal, clean, bulletproof. I had changed my will to remove Michelle as beneficiary. The kids got everything if something happened to me. I had told my parents the basics. Michelle's having an affair. I'm gathering evidence. When I'm ready, I'll need you to take the kids for a few days. Mom cried. Dad wanted to drive over and confront Michelle immediately. I told them no. Wait, trust me, I was 20 steps ahead at all times. But to Michelle, I was just her oblivious husband, going to work, coming home, being dad, being us. Marcus asked me once in late November, meeting for beers after basketball. How are you doing this, man? I'd lose my mind. I took a long pull of my IPA. She thought I was playing checkers, I'm playing chess, and she just sacrificed her queen. I was waiting for December 20th. Michelle's company annual dinner. I had a present for her. And Brandon. The execution. December 1st, I changed. Not dramatically, not all at once. Just enough that Michelle noticed something was different. Week 1, distance. I stopped initiating affection. When Michelle would kiss me goodbye in the morning, I'd turn my head slightly. She got my cheek instead of my lips. When she'd text during the day, "What do you want for dinner?" or "Can you grab milk?" I'd reply hours later. "Whatever, busy." I started going to the gym after work, not the rec center where I played basketball, a new gym, one that stayed open until 10 p.m. I'd go straight from work, not home until 7:30, sometimes 8. Michelle noticed. "Where were you?" "Gym, starting to take fitness seriously." "Since when?" "Since now. That okay with you?" She blinked. I never snapped at her. "Yeah, of course. Just asking." By week's end, she asked if everything was okay. "Yeah, just work stress. Big project deadline." Same lie she'd been using. The irony was delicious. Week 2. Cold shoulder. I started sleeping on my side of the bed. No touching, not even accidental. I put a pillow between us, like a wall, started eating dinner with Emily and Jacob at 6 p.m. When Michelle walked in at 7, I'd barely look up from my plate. "Food's in the fridge." Stopped asking about her day entirely. She'd try to tell me things. I'd grunt responses. That's nice. Cool. The irony, Michelle started trying harder. Wednesday night she wore lingerie to bed. Black lace thing I'd never seen before. Probably bought it for Brandon. I pretended to be asleep. Kept my breathing steady. Didn't move when she touched my shoulder. Friday she cooked my favorite meal. Chicken parmesan with angel hair pasta. The kitchen smelled amazing. I'm not hungry. Ate at the gym. You ate at the gym? They have a cafe. Grabbed a sandwich after my workout. Her face fell. I made your favorite. Sorry, didn't know. I went upstairs, left her sitting at the dinner table alone with a full meal. Week 3, the 180. This is a technique I'd learned on Reddit. Surviving infidelity, the 180. Completely flip your behavior, make them feel what you felt. I started dressing better, not suit and tie better, just sharper. New shirts, got a haircut at an actual salon instead of great clips. $45 instead of $50. Worth it for the look on Michelle's face when she saw it. You look good, she said, surprised. Thanks. Special occasion? Nope, just felt like looking nice. I started having plans without elaborating. Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, sometimes Saturday afternoons. Where are you going? Out. Out where? Does it matter? Let my phone face down on the table. When it buzzed, I'd smile. Actually smile, then ignore it. Check it later in another room. Michelle was going insane. I could see it. Who are you texting? People. What people? Why do you care? Because you're being secretive. The fucking audacity. The sheer unmitigated gall. I'm being secretive? That's rich. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing? Forget it. I'd walk away. Let her stew in it. By December 18th, 2 days before the company dinner, Michelle was a mess. Paranoid, suspicious, desperate for my attention. She started accusing me of cheating. I shit you not. Are you seeing someone? We were in the kitchen. She was loading the dishwasher. I was making coffee. 7 a.m. on a Saturday. What? You heard me? Are you cheating on me? I almost laughed. Almost. Why would you think that? You're different. You're never here. You're always on your phone. You're cold. Maybe I'm just tired, Michelle. Have you considered that? Tired of what? This, us, you. Her face went white. What? I'm tired of feeling like I'm bothering you, of being treated like furniture, of watching you check your phone every 5 minutes and smile at someone who isn't me. That's work, is it? Because it seems like more than work. Seems like whoever's texting you makes you happier than I do. That's not. Forget it. I don't want to fight. I left, went to the gym, stayed there 3 hours. When I came back, Michelle was crying on the couch. I walked past her, went upstairs, showered, acted like everything was fine. 3 months of what I'd felt, compressed into 3 weeks. Let her taste it. Let her marinate in confusion and fear and rejection. The company dinner was 2 days away. That's when everything would come crashing down. The setup, December 19th, day before the company dinner. Michelle was excited. Had been talking about it for weeks. It's at the Westin, open bar, dancing. The CEO usually gives a year-end speech. Should be fun. Sounds nice. What time should we leave? Dinner's at 7. We should leave by 6:15. I'll wear my red dress, the one you like. I did like that dress, or I used to. Before I saw texts where Brandon told her how hot she looked in it. Before I knew she'd worn it for him at a different dinner while I was home with the kids. Sure, sounds good. What Michelle didn't know, I had already filed for divorce. Papers dated December 15th, filed with the county, legal and official. Waiting period started. The papers were being held by Lisa until 10 a.m. on December 21st. Ready to be finalized. A process server was scheduled for December 21st, 8 a.m. Lisa had hired the best. Professional. Thorough. I had already packed 3 bags, hidden at Marcus's house. Clothes, toiletries, laptop, everything I'd need, ready to leave. I had already told Emily and Jacob the truth, age appropriately. Emily got the full story. She's 13, smart, deserved honesty. Jacob got the simpler version. Mom made some mistakes. Dad and Mom need time apart. They were staying with my parents starting December 20th evening after the dinner. A fun sleepover weekend with Grandma and Grandpa. Michelle didn't question it. I had already changed the locks. New locks sitting in the garage. Locksmith scheduled for December 21st at noon. Michelle wouldn't be able to get back in. I had scheduled movers for December 21st at 2 p.m. They'd pack Michelle's belongings, put them in storage. She'd get the address later. Everything was set, timed with precision. One domino after another. That evening, Michelle tried to be sweet. Made spaghetti carbonara, my favorite. Put on Christmas music. talked about vacation plans for spring break. Maybe we could go back to Yellowstone? The kids loved it last time. Playing house, playing wife. I went through the motions, smiled, ate, complimented her cooking, helped with dishes. At 10:30 p.m. she kissed my cheek. Love you, babe. I'm glad you're in a better mood lately. I looked her in the eye. Good night, Michelle. I didn't say it back. She noticed. I saw the flicker of concern in her eyes, the confusion. That night, I didn't sleep. Lay in bed next to her, listening to her breathe, watching the clock. 3:47. a.m., 4:30, a.m., 5:15, a.m., 6:00 a.m. Counting down to the moment Brandon Hughes learned exactly who I was, and when Michelle learned what she'd thrown away. The company dinner, December 20th, 6:45 p.m., the Westin Hotel downtown. Michelle looked beautiful. I'll give her that. Red dress, hair professionally done, makeup perfect, excited smile. We walked through the doors into the hotel ballroom. Holiday decorations everywhere. 2-story Christmas tree in the corner, string lights, open bar already crowded, DJ setting up near the dance floor. Her coworkers greeted us. Dan, good to see you. Fake smiles all around. I wondered how many of them knew. Michelle introduced me like always. This is my husband, Dan. Never. This is Dan, my amazing husband. Or Dan, who I love. Just husband, a title, a role, not a person. Then I saw him, Brandon Hughes, navy suit, crisp white shirt, no tie, top button undone, cocky smile, holding a whiskey. He saw Michelle. His whole face lit up, like Christmas morning. Then he saw me. The smile faltered for half a second, confusion, then recovery. Michelle tensed beside me. I felt her body language change. I need to say hi to my team. I'll be right back. Take your time. She left me at a high-top table, headed straight for Brandon's group. I watched them, the way she laughed at his jokes, the way his hand brushed her lower back, the way they looked at each other when they thought nobody was watching. But people were watching. I saw the glances, the whispers. Everyone knew, or suspected. Office gossip travels fast. I went to the bar, ordered a whiskey, top shelf. Macallan, 18, $28 a glass. Worth more than Brandon's shirt. Not that he'd know. I was 2 drinks in when Brandon approached. 9:15 p.m. He was drunk, swaying slightly, liquid courage. Dan, right? Michelle's husband. The pause, the disdain dripping from the word husband. That's right, and you're Brandon. Michelle mentions you. I kept my voice neutral, friendly even. Does she? Smirk, arrogant. All good things, I hope. Oh, very good. Seems like you two work closely together. Very closely. He leaned in, whiskey breath, cigarettes underneath. Can I ask you something man to man? Here it comes. Sure, Brandon. How does it feel? How does what feel? Being married to the hottest woman in this room. He gestured at Michelle across the room. Knowing every guy here wants her. Knowing she's... How do I put this? He grinned. Way out of your league. I took a slow sip of my whiskey, looked him dead in the eye, and I smirked. Not a smile, not a laugh. A smirk, cold, knowing. Actually, Brandon, it feels like watching someone rob a bank that's already empty. What? His drunk brain trying to process. The fuck does that mean? Ask me again in 2 weeks, if you still have a job. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Louder now, couple people glancing over. I leaned in close, quiet, cold, every word measured. It means I know, Brandon, about the Marriott on October 3rd, the Hilton on November 12th, all 340 text messages between you and my wife, every lie, every dollar of company money you spent on hotels during business trips, every policy violation. His face went white, actually drained of color. I have a binder, 3 inches thick, timestamps, screenshots, photos, hotel receipts charged to corporate cards. Your employee handbook is very clear about fraternization disclosure and misuse of company funds. You're bluffing, but his voice shook. Am I? How many times did Michelle text you today? 23? Want me to quote them? Or should we talk about the message from Tuesday where she said, "You're fucking crazy." No, Brandon, I'm thorough. There's a difference. There's also a difference between a broke sales manager driving a leased BMW and someone who's actually worth something. But you'll figure that out soon enough. Michelle appeared. Perfect timing. "Hey, what are you guys talking about?" Brandon looked like he was going to throw up. "Just getting to know Dan," he managed. "He's interesting." I smiled at Michelle. "Just guy talk, babe. Brandon here was asking about marriage advice." I told him, "Marry someone who values you for who you really are, not who they think you are." Sound advice, don't you think? Michelle laughed, oblivious. "Dan's so wise, one of his best qualities." Brandon excused himself, practically ran to the bathroom. Michelle frowned. "Was he okay?" "Oh, I think reality just set in. He'll be fine, or he won't, either way." I watched Brandon the rest of the night. He kept looking at me, pale, nervous. Went outside twice to make phone calls, probably trying to figure out how much I actually knew. At 10:30 p.m., I saw him pull Michelle aside, urgent conversation by the bar, him gesturing, her shaking her head, him insisting. She came back laughing. "Brandon told me something weird." "Oh?" "He said you threatened him, said you knew things. He was drunk, clearly paranoid, probably had too much whiskey." Weird. "You didn't threaten him, did you?" I looked at her. "Michelle, why would I threaten your coworker? That would be crazy." She nodded, reassured. "That's what I said. He's just drunk." We left at 11 p.m. On the drive home, Michelle was chatty, tipsy from champagne, happy. That was fun. Good to see everyone. Brandon's girlfriend didn't show up again. I think they broke up. He seemed off tonight. Maybe he realized something. Realized what? That actions have consequences. She laughed. "You're so cryptic sometimes." We got home. She kissed me goodnight, went upstairs. I went to the guest room, texted Lisa. "Tomorrow, 10 a.m., execute," then called my parents. "Bring the kids by at 8 a.m. She'll be at yoga like usual." Everything was set. Tomorrow, Michelle and Brandon would learn the most expensive lesson of their lives. December 21st, the morning, 7 a.m., Michelle woke up early. Friday she did yoga at 7:30. Never missed it. She showered, got dressed in Lululemon. Came downstairs at 7:15. I was sitting at the kitchen table, coffee in front of me, the binder next to me, calm. "Morning, you're up early. Couldn't sleep. Everything okay?" She poured coffee. "Actually, Michelle, we need to talk. Cancel yoga." She laughed nervously. "I can't cancel. I already paid for the class." "Cancel. It." Something in my voice made her stop, set down her coffee mug. "You're scaring me. What's wrong?" "Sit down." She sat, across from me at our kitchen table, the table we'd bought at IKEA when we first got married, the table where we'd had thousands of meals, the table where Emily did her homework and Jacob built Lego sets. I reached down, pulled out the binder, 3 inches thick, red cover, tabs color-coded and sticking out. Set it on the table between us. "What is that?" "Open it." "Dan, what is going on? You're really freaking me out." "Open it." Her hands shook as she opened the cover. Page 1, text conversation, her and Brandon, from 3 days ago. "Michelle, can't wait to see you after this stupid company dinner. Dan will probably fall asleep by 9 like always." Brandon, "God, you're hot when you talk shit about him. Wear that red dress for me." Michelle, "Already planning on it. He won't even notice." She dropped the binder like it burned her. "Where did you get—" Page 5. She didn't move. I reached over, flipped to page 5. Credit card statement, joint account, $200 thriller charge. Marriott Ann Arbor, October 3rd. The night she said she was at a team building event. "Dan, I can explain." Page 12. Photos, security camera footage from the Marriott, timestamp in the corner, her and Brandon entering at 5:43 p.m., exiting at 11:18 p.m. Oh my God. Page 28. Timeline. 6 months. Every lie, every late meeting, every client dinner, every girls' night, mapped out. Dates, times, locations, cross-referenced with phone records and GPS data. Color-coded proof of her entire affair. "Please, we can work through this." Page 89. I flipped to it myself. Her journal, entry from August 15th. I'd found it under the bed, purple leather journal she thought was hidden. Brandon makes me feel alive again. Dan is so boring. Just work, home, kids, repeat. No ambition, no drive. Sometimes I wonder why I even married him. Brandon has goals, plans. He sees my potential. Her face crumpled. Tears started, real ones. Page 156, her text to her friend Jess. I think I'm going to leave Dan, once the kids are a bit older. Brandon said he'd wait for me. He said we'd be so happy together. I didn't mean... Page 240. I stood up, flipped to it, showed her. Screenshots of Brandon's LinkedIn profile, his sales numbers from a contact at a competing firm, his credit report, obtained legally through Lisa, don't worry. Your boyfriend? Makes $125K. Sounds impressive, right? Except he's $80,000 in credit card debt. The BMW? Leased. $650 a month he can barely afford. The luxury apartment? He's 3 months behind on rent. The watches on Instagram? Half are fake, the other half bought on credit he's not paying off. Michelle was full on crying now. Mascara running, shoulders shaking. Page 290. Divorce filing, dated December 15th. Already submitted to Wayne County Family Court. No, please, I'll end it, I'll do anything. Please don't leave me. There's more. What? Barely a whisper. The doorbell's about to ring. In approximately, I checked my watch, 2 minutes. Who? Process server. Right on cue, doorbell. She looked at me, horror spreading across her face. Dan, please. I walked to the door, opened it. Professional woman, maybe 50. Clipboard, name tag, Linda, Court Services. Are you Michelle Ann Cooper Reynolds? Michelle tried to stand, to run. Actually tried to run toward the stairs. Ma'am, Linda said calmly, you can take these now or I can leave them on the table. Either way, you're served. This is Michigan. Service is legal whether you accept them or not. I took the papers, handed them to Michelle. Merry Christmas, Michelle, 5 days early. The process server left. Michelle was hyperventilating, papers shaking in her hands. Where are the kids? With my parents. Have been since 8 a.m. this morning. They know, Michelle. I told them, age appropriately. But they know their mother is having an affair. You turned my children against me? Screaming now. I told them the truth. I showed Emily the timeline. Showed her the nights you said you were working late but were at hotels. She's 13. She's smart. She drew her own conclusions. Jacob's younger, so I just told him Mom made mistakes and we need time apart. Michelle slumped against the wall, sobbing, makeup completely destroyed. Why? Why would you do this? I walked to the counter, picked up my keys, my phone, the bag I'd packed last night. You called me boring, checked out, said I had no ambition. You threw away 13 years because you wanted excitement. I opened the garage door, turned back. Well, Michelle, here's some excitement for you. Her eyes met mine, red, devastated, confused. Oh, and Michelle? Brandon? He's getting his own binder, at his apartment, right now. Along with a copy being delivered to Tech Vantage HR department at 9 a.m. Section 4.3 of your employee handbook is very specific about undisclosed relationships and misuse of company resources. Check your email. You'll probably have a meeting scheduled soon. Her face went from grief to absolute horror. You wouldn't. I already did. Binders were delivered at 8 a.m., 30 minutes ago, certified mail, signature required. My job? His job? Should have thought about that before you spent 6 months fucking your coworker. You have until 5 p.m. today to get your essential belongings out of this house. Movers will be here at 2 p.m. for the rest. Locks are getting changed at noon. Fight me on any of this, and page 300, the one with all your journal entries and texts, goes to your parents. Your boss gets an even more detailed report. Facebook gets a greatest hits version. Your choice. I walked toward the garage, hand on the door. One more thing. She looked up. Mascara trails down her face. Destroyed. I'm not broke, Michelle. I'm not boring. And I'm sure as hell not checked out. I'm a millionaire. Multi-millionaire, actually. $11.7 million, to be exact. Her jaw actually dropped. Literally hung open. That company you use at work, the project management software that makes your job easier, I created it. Sold it in 2022 for $18 million. After taxes, kept about 12. retired at 38. What? I've been living modestly because I wanted to live a life of values. Not show, not status, values. I wanted a partner who loved me for who I was, not what I had. Turns out, you love neither. I let that sink in, watched her face process it. You threw away a multimillionaire for a man who's broke and empty. You traded a diamond for cubic zirconia. You left Tiffany's for Claire's. You chose a guy with $80,000 in credit card debt over someone with 8 figures liquid. I opened the door to the garage, my Camry waiting, packed and ready. Dan, wait. Goodbye, Michelle. See you in court. I got in my car, backed out of the driveway, didn't look back. The aftermath, I drove to Marcus's place, hands steady on the wheel. Morning sun coming up over Detroit, December 21st, 4 days before Christmas. Marcus had coffee ready, good friend. How'd it go? Like a nuclear bomb. We sat on his back deck. Detroit winter, cold, didn't matter. I needed air. I turned my phone back on. 85 missed calls, 140 texts in 30 minutes. Michelle, 52 missed calls. I blocked her number, her mom, Linda Cooper. How could you humiliate my daughter like this? On Christmas week? You're a monster. She made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. I replied, Linda, ask Michelle what she did for 6 months. Ask her about Brandon. Ask her why she was charging hotels to our joint credit card. Ask her why she told him I was boring and checked out while I was home raising our children. Then ask yourself who the monster is. Don't contact me again. I attached page 156, Michelle's journal entry calling me boring and talking about leaving me. Linda didn't respond. I blocked her. Her sister, Jessica Cooper. Long text about forgiveness and marriage is work, and everyone deserves a second chance, and think of the kids. I sent her 3 attachments. Page 28, timeline of affair. Page 89, journal entries. Page 156, texts to friend about leaving me. Jessica stopped texting. I blocked her too. My mom. The kids are okay. Jacob is confused, but Emily explained things to him gently. They're safe. They love you. Are you okay, sweetheart? Finally? Someone asked if I was okay. I will be, Mom. Thank you for taking them. I'll be there tonight. Marcus. Dude, Brandon's LinkedIn just went dark. Profile disappeared. I smiled. First genuine smile all morning. Unknown number. 10:15 a.m., I answered, knew who it would be. You fucking psycho! What did you do? Brandon's voice, shaking, angry, scared. Merry Christmas, Brandon. How's your morning? HR called me. They have a fucking binder. They're terminating me effective immediately. That's unfortunate, but I mean, it's all true, right? Every hotel receipt, every text, every dollar of company money you spent taking my wife on dates, that's not harassment, that's documentation. Michelle said you were controlling, abusive. Really? That's funny, because I have 340 text messages where she calls me boring and predictable and checked out. Not once does she mention abuse. Maybe get your story straight with your ex-mistress before you call me again. You ruined my life. No, Brandon. You ruined your life when you decided to fuck another man's wife. I just made sure everyone knew about it. Big difference. This isn't over. Actually, it is. For you. For Michelle. You're both unemployed now. You're both broke. You're both alone. And you have each other to thank. Although, I paused. I'm guessing you two aren't together anymore now that the fantasy is gone. Funny how that works. Silence. Enjoy poverty, Brandon. Oh, and the eviction notice you'll probably be getting in a few weeks when you can't make rent. Merry Christmas. I hung up, blocked the number, Lisa Parker, my attorney. 10:45 a.m. Dan, Michelle's attorney just called. She wants to talk settlement. She's in full panic mode, offering to waive alimony if you'll keep the HR reports private. Tell her no. We proceed as filed. Court date, full disclosure, everything. She doesn't get to negotiate after 6 months of lying. She's threatening to fight for the house, for alimony, for primary custody. Let her try. I have the binder. I have proof of adultery. I have proof she used marital funds to support the affair. GPS data showing her lying about her location while with him. She has zero leverage. Make her sweat, Lisa. You're ice cold right now, Dan. I've been warm my entire marriage. Where did that get me? 2:30 p.m. The HR director calls unknown number. I answered. Mr. Reynolds, this is Kathleen Morrison, HR director at TechVantage Solutions. Yes? I'm calling to acknowledge receipt of the documentation you sent this morning regarding employees Michelle Cooper Reynolds and Brandon Hughes. Okay. I want you to know we take these matters very seriously. We've completed an expedited investigation based on your evidence. That was fast. The evidence you provided was extremely comprehensive. Time-stamped messages, credit card statements showing charges to company cards at non-business locations, calendar entries showing they claimed to be at work events when they were at hotels, GPS location data, everything we needed to verify policy violations. And both employees have been terminated, effective immediately, for violations of Company Policy Section 4.3, undisclosed fraternization, and Section 7.2, misuse of company resources and time theft. I felt it, the satisfaction, cold and complete. Additionally, we'll be pursuing restitution for misappropriated funds. Hotels and meals charged to corporate accounts during non-business activities total $400 between them. We'll be filing claims with our insurance carrier and potentially civil claims depending on their response. I appreciate you letting me know. Mr. Reynolds, I want to be clear. We don't take pleasure in this. These were both valued employees, but your documentation protected the company from potential liability. Had this relationship caused issues with clients or resulted in other employees filing harassment claims, and we'd known but done nothing, well, you understand. I do. I'm sorry for what you're going through. For what it's worth, your documentation was the most professional I've ever seen from a non-attorney. You could have a career in investigation if you wanted one. I just wanted the truth out there. Well, it is now. Take care, Mr. Reynolds. She hung up. I sat there on Marcus's deck, winter sun, cold air, coffee going cold in my hands. It was done. Both of them fired, both of them destroyed, both of them facing the consequences of their choices. I should have felt better. I should have felt victorious. I mostly just felt tired. That evening, the kids, I picked up Emily and Jacob from my parents' house at 6 p.m. Emily hugged me, hard, didn't let go for a long time. Is it over? She asked. The first part is. The divorce will take a few months, but yeah, the hard part is done. Jacob asked, Is Mom coming home? Not to our house, buddy. She'll get her own place. You'll still see her when she's ready, when everything calms down. Okay. He seemed okay with that answer. 10-year-olds are resilient. That night I made tacos, the kids' favorite. We watched a movie, Home Alone, because it was almost Christmas. Pretended everything was normal, but upstairs, alone in my room, the guest room, because I couldn't sleep in our bed anymore, I cried, not for Michelle, for what I'd believed we had, for the life I thought we were building, for 13 years of marriage that turned out to be partly a lie. I cried until I couldn't anymore, until I was empty. Then I got in bed, stared at the ceiling, and planned for tomorrow, because this wasn't over. This was just the beginning of the aftermath. The darkness, continuing in next part due to length.